GSmaniamsmart, and I'm here on a brand new video for Gaming with GS. And today we're going to talk about Guild Wars 2 and the Lake Doric map. This is that video that some of you have been waiting for, where I talk about the map, where I tell you what there is to do in the map, what rewards you can get, what are all the little secret areas with jumping puzzles, what are all the secret rewards, what are all the ways to get jade fragments. I explained to you the events, the meta events. I just explained to you what this map is about, what you should be doing in this map, and all the cool things that it has to offer. Now, before we jump into any of that, I do just want to say that this map is great. I love this map. It's a fantastic map, and it looks great, it feels great, it plays great. I find myself saying this every new map they release. This is my new favorite map, and it really is, because there are so many cool ways they've integrated past maps into this one. There's so many cool new things that they've integrated into this map, and they're actually listening to the community. You know, a lot of us post on Reddit, post in the forums, we leave our concerns about these maps, and you know, we would like to see certain things, and they're, you know, actually listening and trying to make this map as enjoyable as possible. And this map is really fun to play in. There's quite a bit to do, and it's so well presented that in every corner you go, you're going to find something really cool. Whether it be a secret chest, whether it be a collection, whether it be an item for an achievement, it's really cool, and you don't really waste much time in this map. It rewards you heavily in different ways than we would have experienced before, but still, it's an excellent map. And I really love how, you know, they're putting so much time and effort into these new releases. It's really paying off, and this is right now my favorite map in the entire game. So while it has its positive, while I do give it its praise, I also feel like it has a giant downside. And there is no real meta event in this map, which is a huge missed opportunity, because there are so many ways you can buff your character in this map that it's sort of a shame that they don't have a giant meta event like the Silver Wastes has, like Bitterfrost Frontier has. There's no real huge event at the end of a day or at the end of an event chain that you can do. There's none of that. In Bitterfrost Frontier, we had the braziers. You had to keep the braziers lit up, and you had to defend them. And then once you completed defending them, a bunch of extra chests spawn over the place. That's a really cool idea. In Bloodstone Fen, you had this giant legendary champion spawn at the bottom of the map after you complete a certain chain of events, and that was the meta event. And in Silver Waste, you obviously have Vine Wraith, I believe it is. I haven't done it in so long. You have that meta event at the very end. After you complete a chain of events, you have this giant, huge boss, and you reap a huge amount of rewards. I felt like this map was missing that. You know, while it does have a lot of cool references to lore in Guild Wars 1, while it has lots of cool little areas you can explore, the exploration side of it is amazing. The storytelling is amazing. Some of the events are really well done too, but it's just lacking a giant meta event that ties it all up, sort of. And that's the only thing that I felt like was lacking a bit, and I felt like it was a bit disappointing. But, you know, maybe they want to sort of keep it very relevant to the Queensdale and I believe it's the Kessex Hills meta. I can't remember. It might be the Harathi Hinterlands meta or the Kessex Hills meta, where you have to basically defend certain locations. This is what this map's meta is. You're basically looking on the right side of your screen, and if it says that the White Mantle are attacking a certain location, you go to that location and you defend that location. You keep the capture point in the middle captured, and you kill a bunch of centaurs. Now, while this can give you some good loot, while it can give you some champion bags, and while, you know, you may run into the legendary bosses that spawn here and there, whether it be in a regular event or whether it be in one of these meta events, I feel like it's still lacking a giant payoff that other maps have. And while the meta can be fun and it obviously does reward you, there are other maps that do a much better job at it. So I would say the only downside of this map is that there's no real meta event, and that's the only thing that's missing, really. Now, as I was talking about the legendaries you can kill, they did bring back dailies to this map, and I am a hard believer that these dailies are great to have for every new map, because it allows players to have an incentive to go back to the newer maps. If you are looking at your daily section, you see you have dailies for Bloodstone Fen, you have dailies for Bitterfrost Frontier, you see you have dailies for Lake Doric and all these new maps. It gives you a reason to go back there, especially for those who like to be completionists, like to have all your dailies. Like, I for one like to have all my daily fractals and all my regular dailies, all my map dailies, and most of the time I don't finish all of them because it's just way too much. But for people who have a lot of time and who like to be a completionist, you can gain so many rewards by doing all of your dailies and they're all useful rewards. They all give you currencies that can in the end benefit you, benefit your characters, benefit your home, and I'll go a little more in depth into the rewards actually later in the video. But the fact that they have these dailies is such a great positive thing to the map. And I really hope they continue going forward with all new maps giving them dailies, so that it gives people a reason to come back. So we do have dailies, and some of these dailies do include destroying some of the cannons in the area, killing some legendaries. There's a few legendaries in the map that spawn, and magic gathering, as we've had in the past. We have to gather the magical blue orbs, and a few other dailies. You can definitely check them out when you are in game yourself. And these dailies basically give you jade fragments. Now, jade fragments are the new type of node in the map that you can actually mine. It seems like they're going back and forth between mining to woodcutting to gathering with your the herb gathering thing. I forget the name of it now. But with the sickle, there we go, the harvesting sickle. It seems like they're going back and forth with that, and this time around they're going back to the pickaxe to mine some jade fragments. Now, this is the new map currency. It works pretty much the exact same way as all the other maps. You get them from completing events, you get them from completing some of the dailies, you get them from finding certain chests in the area, and you also get them from completing the hearts. So the hearts in the map do seem like they take a bit longer to complete. The one that I felt like took forever was the one where you have to plant flowers and take out the fires with water. There's one of these hearts where you have to basically restore a small village, and that heart just takes so long. But on the upside, there are a lot of cool little achievements that are associated with these hearts. And that's really cool, because a lot of times you may do a heart one way, but if you do it another way, you can get some cool achievements. So I really appreciate that. There is some replayability to these hearts, because not only do you get achievements, but you still are able to buy some jade fragments through karma to boost your jade fragment count. Just like in all the other maps, after you complete a heart every day, you can buy winterberries, blood rubies. Well, no, not blood rubies, because they didn't have hearts back then. But you could buy winterberries, you could buy petrified wood, and you could buy, what was the other currency in Bitterfrost Frontier was winterberries. But how you could go to those hearts and you can buy it with karma, this is the same way. You can go to these heart vendors and you can buy these currencies with your karma. But the other cool thing about these vendors is that they actually have, for each vendor, there's something really specific about them that they offer extra. And this is also a really neat addition. It's not just like in the other maps where they give you random minis, or they give you random pieces of salvaging equipment, or they give you some unbound harvesting sickles. Each of these vendors, when you complete the heart, has something very unique about them. And some of them may give you some really cool looking minis I found really aesthetically pleasing. Some of them might give you some awesome skins. In fact, later on in the video, or you may see it right now, but at one point in the video, you see me running around with my new purple staff and with a new purple and white dye scheme. I love that staff though, and they have a lot of cool skins from these heart vendors that you can actually buy with karma, and if you complete the heart, you can buy them. So lots of cool skins, lots of cool minis, but there's even a heart vendor that allows you to get a new tonic, and it's that same tonic that everyone's been loving, the Kodan tonic. You're able to fight as a Kodan, run around as a Kodan. Then we have the Watch Knight tonic in the Nightmare Fract. You're able to run around and fight as a Watch Knight. But they've also made one where you can become small. You can become very tiny. Your character becomes really small, and you run around in the map and you fight as a tiny character. It's basically like a shrink potion. And we used to have, and in fact, during Valentine's Day, you can get a box of chocolate, and you can actually, I think, if you eat one of the chocolates, you can actually become very small. Well, this is basically the same thing. You can double down on these actually if you have the box of chocolate and a specific chocolate, and if you have the endless mini tonic, you can become even smaller. So it's a really cool tonic that, once again, follows the other tonics that people love, and you can become super small and just keep on fighting, and it looks really cool. The really awesome thing about this is that you actually become the same size as your mini, so now it doesn't look like your mini is just super small and you don't even pay attention to your mini anymore. Now your mini is actually the same size as you, and that's really cool because now you pay a bit more attention to your mini, and that's a really cool thing that they did. So I love the new tonic. But apart from that, they also have new food recipes, and I'll talk a little more about the food and the stats for that food in just a second. But they have new food recipes, and one of the heart vendors actually gives you a key even. And this key you can use to go underneath in the basement of his house, and you can actually complete a mini dungeon / mini jumping puzzle to get some chests, to get some loot, and to get some more jade fragments. So there's a lot of neat little things in this map that I'll go a little more in depth also later on in the video, that are really rewarding and really satisfying to find and to actually use. Now I'll touch a little more on this mini dungeon later on as well. I just wanted to show you that there's a lot of things that these heart vendors offer you, and it's not just that every heart vendor isn't the same and isn't offering the same things. Some heart vendors may give you the average sales, such as salvaging kits, such as harvesting sickles, but it will only be that one heart vendor. All the other heart vendors are completely different, offer completely different things, and it's worth looking at. And I guess the last thing I want to touch on with these heart vendors is it'd be cool, and I would love for them to do this, if they made a tonic next patch where you could become super big, you can become a giant. That would be really awesome. That can be a heart vendor reward. That would be really satisfying, and I think that would be another great addition to the list of tonics that people can be collecting then. Now, with these jade fragments that you actually collect from the hearts, from the nodes around the map, there are some things you can buy with them. Now, the most interesting thing to me, well, not the most interesting, but I think the most useful thing to me is the new jade fragment node for your home instance. And I'm one to love building my home instance up. A lot of people are building their home instance up as well. And well, they brought another home instance node that you can put into your home and mine for more jade fragments. And that's, I love those items. I love having the ability to upgrade your home instance and expand it. With every new patch release, there seems like they're adding some more home instance stuff, and I really appreciate that. But apart from that, they're also offering an entire new stat set. Now, they do still have your ascended trinkets that you can buy. I believe they're offering an amulet, and they're offering a backpack. And I appreciate that they put the amulet in this map, because before, you could only get an amulet from Bloodstone Fen. And Bloodstone Fen, some people really didn't like, because it was kind of difficult to gather the blood rubies. It felt like it was easier to gather all the other currencies and all the other maps. So they have given you the opportunity to buy an ascended amulet in Lake Doric and an ascended backpack, which looks really cool in Lake Doric as well. But apart from that, they do have an entire new stat set. And if they move forward with this ideology that they want to implement a new stat type every new map, I'll be completely fine with that, because I would love to see some of the other stat combinations in this game. I would love to see new ways to build your character, new ways to experiment in your build, and that's really key to this game, and that's really enjoyable to, build your build to the way you want to play and have more diversity. Anyway, the new stat type they implemented is the Seraph/Thackeray set. The Thackeray prefix is for the Ascended, the Seraph is for the Exotic and the Rare, I believe. But they have this new stat set which gives you condition damage, precision, concentration, and healing. Now, while the idea is great, well, I love how they're implementing new stat sets for new build diversities. The only problem I have with this is I'm not really sure what class or what build can use this. What build focuses on condition damage, concentration, and healing? I'm not really sure what class that would be. I've heard some people say engineer, I've heard some people say maybe a healing necro, but I can't, off the top of my head, I have no idea what class that could fit with. And the new foods I was talking about earlier on, those also spec to these stats. the Condi Precision, Concentration, and Healing Power. So it seems like if you want to build that build, Lake Doric is a great map for you because you can get the food there and you can get the gear there and the inscriptions and all that stuff to craft also. But the problem is, which class is it built for? Maybe it's for a future elite specialization. Maybe it's for your future fix that they're making to healing power. Maybe it's for a future buff to a certain class. It doesn't really matter to me if this stat set is useful now, because it may be useful in the future. And I think this is a great way to actually implement new builds, new stat sets that may in the future be very viable. If, say, the next elite specialization for Necromancer is being able to be a massive healer and do condition damage and give boons out, then heck, this would be an amazing stat set for the Necromancer. So they can continuously make new stat sets, and if it becomes relevant in the future, if they have plans for it, then that's fine. By all means, go for it. But currently, I'm not sure which class can use this. If you have any ideas yourself, please leave in the comment section below, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on this new stat set and this new food, and some ideas for some builds that you might think it could be viable for. Another cool thing they did in this map is they've actually implemented the Bloodstone Fen gliding abilities. Now, I, for one, have always felt like these abilities that are very specific to a map are kind of a waste of Unbound magic. And I felt this mainly in Bitterfrost Frontier. Especially after I read some of your comments saying that the abilities aren't really that useful. I spent all of my Unbound magic to buy all of the abilities in Bitterfrost Frontier a while ago. And I felt kind of disappointed with them because they didn't really do much. They didn't really bring much use. And while the Bloodstone Fen abilities do have a lot of use, they're only specific to Bloodstone Fen. So I also didn't buy all the abilities there either. But now they're incorporating the Bloodstone Fen abilities into Lake Doric. Whereas if you enter a ley line gliding area where you jump into the ley line and it basically moves you very fast and it guides you to a specific location with your glider, while you're in the ley line, and if you exit the ley line, if you come from a ley line, you're able to use the Bloodstone Fen abilities. Now, the reason why they limit it to that is because they don't want it to be overpowered. These abilities can be very powerful, but I'm glad to see that they've actually implemented old abilities from older maps into new maps. And this makes it so much more rewarding. It makes it so much more of an incentive to buy these abilities. And if they can move forward with this plan to incorporate older abilities from older maps into newer maps, that would be a really cool idea, because then it would have so much more use. It would give so much more value to the mastery track, so much more value to the abilities, so much more value to these older maps to go back and buy these abilities so you can use them in future maps. So that's another really cool thing that I liked as well. Now, in the map, there are two major buffs that you can get, which I also thought was a really nice idea. But once again, it's sort of lacking because they don't have a giant meta goal to go for. Everything in the map is relatively easy to kill. I mean, it's not super easy. You can die, and I have died in the map. But for the most part, if there's an event somewhere, a lot of people are there, and a lot of people are going to kill it anyway. It's most likely going to die anyway. There's really no way to fail any event. I haven't seen any events fail, really. All the events have been successful. A lot of people have been doing the events, and it is a fun map, so a lot of people would like the map, so they're going to be in it. So, there's no real need for any huge buffs. But there is a buff called Seraph's Morale that you get for completing events in the map. And if you get 10 stacks of Seraph's Morale, you get a huge boost in power, you get a huge boost in health. After a certain amount of kills, you can also summon some assassins to help you fight along the way. And while the idea is really cool, and while it seems really rewarding, I like the concept behind it. I feel like, once again, there was a lack of foresight where they didn't really implement a giant meta event where you can actually use some of these buffs to your advantage, where everyone would use the buff and try to get the highest amount of power, the highest amount of health, so they have a higher chance of completing the event, the meta event, the giant boss at the very end of a chain of events. They don't have a giant meta event like that, and that sort of makes some of these buffs a bit lackluster. Now, these buffs are still great to pick up because they do give you a ton of stat boost, and it makes your time in Lake Doric a bit easier. You kill a bit faster, you can get a lot of things done faster, so the events can be completed faster as well. So while it does give you some benefit to pick these buffs up, such as the Seraph Morale, at the same time it also isn't that big of a benefit, because if you're not going to stay in the map for a very long time anyway, then it really isn't useful to you. There's also another great buff, and this is actually a secret area in the north side of the map. If you happen to find a tunnel, then it leads you to an area where you climb up some pillars of rocks, and there's a tree that there's a tree spirit that you can talk to, and he actually gives you another buff, and it's an hour buff that boosts once again a bunch of your stats. You do a ton more damage, and it makes you even more powerful. If you combine this daily buff, and this buff is only daily, you have to, it's an item in your inventory, you double click the item, it gives you a buff, and you get the stat boost, and every day you can go back to this area and get the buff again. It's also a daily that you can actually complete, and you get jade fragments from it, so it's part of the daily achievements. It's also a great way to boost your stats, and it's a secret area. But if you get this buff in combination with the Seraph's Morale, you have a huge boost in stats, and you can really do a ton of damage, have a ton of health, and it makes traversing the map a lot easier. Now, this little secret area is just one of the many secret areas. A lot of secret achievements, a lot of secret little areas that you may want to go to, whether it be for mastery insights, whether it be for chests, whether it be for experiencing a jumping puzzle. This secret area with the buff that you get is just one of the many. There's one secret achievement where if you get a honeycomb from kicking one of the trees north of Lakeside Bazaar, there are some honeycombs that you can actually acquire from kicking a tree. And if you go back to Lakeside Bazaar, there is a person named Blaine stuck in a well, and if you feed him this honeycomb, he actually gives you an achievement, a secret achievement. And small things like that are really cool. You also get an achievement and extra rewards and loot for getting the key from one of the heart vendors in the north side of the map. The very north side of the map, the top of the map, there's a heart there, and if you complete the heart, the NPC gives you a key, and this key leads you to a secret location in the basement of his house, and there is basically a mini dungeon of traps that you have to get past. You have to avoid the traps, and once you get to the end of this area, there's going to be a chest there. You'll also get an oil item, and if you use the oil item on the key, then you also get another type of key, and this another type of key will then allow you to go through a mini jumping puzzle, and if you get to the end of the mini jumping puzzle, you also get another chest, and this chest gives you also a ton of jade fragments. So this is a great way to farm for jade fragments also, to every day get your key, get your hearts done, and go to the bottom of this little basement, do the jumping puzzle, go to the end, get your loot, get your chest, and you have more jade fragments. So that's a neat little secret area too that gives you an achievement. Another secret area is in Melandru's Refuge. If you head to the swamp area on the southeast side of the map, there's actually a ghost that comes out during nighttime, and he comes out, I think, occasionally, and if you happen to see him, he has the door open to a secret area on the very southeast side of the map. And this secret area once again has a secret jumping puzzle, and it's a very easy jumping puzzle, but if you complete it, you get an achievement. You also get another chest with more jade fragments, and you get some pretty interesting references to Guild Wars 1 with some of these gravestones that you can interact. So lots of neat little secrets in this map that are very satisfying to find and very rewarding to find. And apart from that, there's even more secret locations. There are a lot of tunnels in this map that you have to pay attention to. One of these tunnels is very specific. It leads you to a waterfall area where you have to actually climb up some stairs and use some updrafts to get to certain mastery points. And then there are also some specific vistas you have to get to by finding these little tunnels. And not to mention that there's collections in these maps, like the letters to E, or letters from E, I should say. And a lot of these letters are scattered throughout the map, and if you don't reach some of these certain secret locations, you won't ever find the letters. So doing some of these collections can be a great way to explore the entire map. Doing map completions is a great way to explore the entire map, and checking your achievements is also a great way to explore the entire map, because if you complete all those achievements, you've pretty much explored every small area in the map. But that's not it. There's more even. There's one secret location, and this one you have to have access to after you complete the story. So after you complete the Living World Season 3 Episode 4 story, there's a secret room that becomes available on the east side of the map by the Lakeside Bazaar, and the Lakeside Bazaar has a lot of interesting things. It has that achievement with the well where you have to feed the honeycomb. It has a secret entrance to the mastery point and the vista there. It also has the secret entrance to NPC that gives you guild decorations. So after you complete the story, an NPC becomes available in a secret room in this area. You have to keep on going up the stairs to the very top of this town, and there is a room there which has an NPC that sells very expensive guild decorations, a lot of guild decorations. So it seems like they've noticed that, you know, in the Lunar New Year past, they didn't have any new guild decorations. A lot of people were disappointed, so they've made up for it this time, and there's a ton of new guild decorations. They're very expensive, but they're very cool and very unique as well. They're basically all the decorations that you get from, spoilers alert here, if you have not completed the story, mute the video for like 10 seconds, but they all come from the very end of the instance where you fight Codicus and you go into his quarters. That's where those decorations come from. Some of them are very cool paintings, some of them are little things that you can hang, so lots of cool little unique items and decorations that you can buy, and they're matching basically those in that instance that I talked about. So really cool, neat little things you can find in this map, really nice, satisfying rewards you can get. I would say in general, the map is really well done. It's very satisfying to explore, it's very fun to explore, lots of cool things to get in the map. Like I said, the only downside I say in this map is that, one, if you're not interested in the stat type, if you have your Ascended gear already, then this map isn't going to offer you much. If you don't care about the new stat type, and if you don't care about building your home instance, then this map is not going to have much for you to do. And if you don't care about that, you're most likely not going to care about the Jade Fragments. And the Jade Fragments is the key thing in this map, because there's so many things that you do in this map that revolve around acquiring Jade Fragments. You can complete the hearts to get Jade Fragments. You can complete all the secret mini jumping puzzles, the one under the basement, the one on the south side of the map in Melandru's Refuge to get Jade Fragments. And you can obviously complete certain events to get Jade Fragments as well, and farm the nodes around the map to get Jade Fragments. So there are lots of ways to get Jade Fragments, but if you're not interested in any of the new stat type recipes, and if you're not interested in the node, and if you're not interested in the skins or the minis, then there's really not much for you to do in this map. And because there's no real meta event, there's also no real way to make any gold either in this map. So I felt like the map was lacking a way to make gold. I felt like the map was lacking a way to bring other players who aren't too into the vendors with the currency. I would say the only thing this map does very well is the leather farm that appeals to everyone and can appeal to everyone. If you want to see the video on the leather farm, I have a complete video on that already. Go ahead and click the card on screen right now, and you'll be able to see how to complete the leather farm, how to make some gold off the leather farm, and how the northeast side of the map is a great way to farm for leather, get some strong boxes, and make some gold. So that part of the map I think appeals to everyone, because whether you're crafting legendary, whether you're looking for gold, whether you're looking for a grind for experience, that part of the map is really well done, and a lot of people can connect with that part of the map, and everyone can get rewarded, whether it be for experience, gold, or whatever the case may be. You'll get something out of that. But I'd say the rest of the map is really only good for people who appreciate the story, people who appreciate exploration, people who appreciate some skins and the Jade Fragments that you can actually use to buy some things from the vendors. So that's pretty much all this map has to offer. Hopefully you found the video informative. Hopefully you found it helpful. And if you did, go ahead and leave a like on the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Would love to have you on board. Plenty of other Guild Wars 2 guides in the channel. Plenty of other Guild Wars 2 updates, discussions, giveaways, gold guides. Lots of cool stuff on the channel. So if you're interested in gaming, if you're interested in Guild Wars 2, go ahead and subscribe. And be aware that the next video we're going to make is the recap of the story. Gotta say, I loved the story. Very well done story, and I can't wait to talk about it with you guys because it's such an amazing ending, such an amazing story, so well done, so many references, so much incorporation of the game, really well done. So I'll talk to you guys about that in the next video I'll be making, and I'll try to get that out maybe sometime on Monday. I'm not exactly sure right now, but we'll see how it goes. So if you want to donate $1 to my Patreon page, you can also donate $1 there. You can press the card on the top right hand corner of the screen, or bring you to the page. We'll have a giveaway video coming up very soon as well. I know I've been saying it for the past week already, but the giveaway video is probably going to be the next video, or after the story recap video. We'll have the video out, and the giveaway will probably end before March comes around, so it'll still be a February giveaway. So I think that's pretty much everything I need to say. Thank you for watching as always, guys, and this is GSmaniamsmart. I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.